Welcome to the full YouTube SEO course here on YouTube. Now you may notice this is a longer video. What am I going to cover in this episode? Well, I'm going to go into great depth on how to get your videos to rank at the top of YouTube search. Now, every other video that I've seen on YouTube that talks about YouTube SEO, they teach you the wrong way to do keyword research. The tools that they use, they're faulty, but this isn't just about my way is better than their way. And so when you see these different systems or these different tools out there, you're going to recognize and know if they are good and know if they're legit or not. Ultimately, you're going to know how to get your videos to rank at the top of YouTube. You're going to have confidence in that. And you're going to know how to check your ranking in a way better way than using the fake SEO score tools that are out there. So saying it another way, you're going to be able to get people who've never heard of you before to go to Google and YouTube and do a search and find your YouTube videos. We're also going to cover in this course how to leverage those views to generate leads for your business. Now, I produce over 60 different YouTube channels, and these channels generate multiple 6, multiple 7, and a couple channels even 8 figures per year for these businesses. You're going to see how to do that. This will be the most comprehensive and the most tactical, applicable. You'll be able to apply it right after you're done watching this. This will be the most comprehensive video on YouTube SEO you've ever seen. Let's dive right in. Okay, because this is a longer video, I want you to pay attention to the chapters because maybe this is new to you. Maybe you've never heard of me before and you want to watch this video all the way to the end. But for those of you who are familiar with my content, maybe you've learned about the leaf strategy and you already know the tree analogy. So everything is broken into chapters, and you can see that along the bottom bar of this video. You can hover your mouse or hover your finger, you can drag the icon, and you can see what each chapter is about. So if I start into something and you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome, but I've already heard of that before, you can skip to the next chapter. Now, I've packed a ton into this video, but there's probably some questions that you have that are specific to your situation. And if you want me to answer those, I actually want to. You can leave a comment below and I can respond and answer there. Or in a lot of cases, I'm going to take those questions and make future episodes so I can answer your questions visually and more completely. And with the different principles that I teach, I am going to show multiple examples. So it's okay if you think, okay, I got this concept, you can skip to the next chapter. So now let's really dive in. The first thing that I want to show you is what this looks like, what ranking at the top of YouTube looks like with this strategy. So notice right here, I went to YouTube and I typed in this question, how to get business credit with poor personal credit, and Noelle Randall appears at the top. She's actually in position 2 as well. How did we get Noelle to rank there? This is the channel that I produce. Or if you type in buying vacant land in Florida, how did we get Brent Bowers to rank at the top here? Or if you type in are fixed indexed annuities a good investment, how did we get Stan the Annuity Man to appear at the top? And you'll notice this was 4 years ago. His video's been at the top for 4 years. Here's another one with Doug Andrew. You type in that question and you find this video. This has been there for 3 years. This video's had 189,000 views. Here's a more recent example with Jason Schroeder. If you type in that question, you find him at the top. You also find him in positions 3 and 4. Here's a question you can type in and you'll find Michelle Villalobos in positions 2, 3, and 4. These have been here for years. Here's a real specific question for Jason Hewlett. How to change the tone of your singing voice. And yeah, we got him at the top. Here's another real estate topic, including taxes, and we've got Ted Thomas ranking at the very top. Here's another one about leveraging credit to build wealth, and we got Laurel Langmeyer ranked at the top. And another one in the medical field, how to treat hormonal imbalance in teenage girls. You've got Dr. Carrie Ann Perkins that we got ranked at the top. How to become a politician. Of course, Jay Townsend is ranking at the very top with a lot of videos. If you type in that question, you'll find Chad Littlefield ranked at the top. If you type in this question, I'll end on this one. Notice that we've got Paul Jenkins, Live on Purpose TV, and Nicolene Peck with Teaching Self-Government. Both of them are ranking at the top. Both of these have been here for many, many years. Look at Paul's video, 923,000 views. The other thing that I want to say is I went through a lot of different examples is each of these channels has hundreds of videos that rank at the very top. So we're talking about thousands and thousands of videos that we produce that follow this strategy that you're going to learn that are ranking at the top of YouTube. So when you follow this strategy and you create 10 videos following this strategy, those 10 videos will rank at the top of YouTube. Okay, so let's keep going. This all centers around my leaf strategy. So that you understand what that is, I want to teach you my tree analogy. So look at this tree. It's got a really broad trunk and there's all these branches. The branches get smaller, go out to limbs, but eventually you end up with the leaves. We want to make videos on leaf topics, not trunk topics. What does that mean? Okay, the trunk, that represents your core area of expertise. The branches represent the different ways you can categorize your expertise. In smaller branches, you can narrow it down even more. When you get to the leaves represent the questions that your target audience is asking on those branches, okay? So let me show you some examples, and I've got several types of examples that I can show you here. Let's say you're an expert in productivity. I've done keyword research and I found a couple examples I want to show you here. Here's one. What can increase productivity in a dental office? That would be a great leaf. And another one, how to improve productivity on a construction site. Now, I did not make these questions up. I did keyword research, and in this course, this video, you're going to learn how to do this keyword research. You're going to be able to do it yourself. But again, I didn't make these up, and it's important to look at the wording. What can increase productivity and how to improve productivity? Why are those worded differently? I have no idea. I just did the keyword research, and the tool that I'll show you, it let me know this is how people in the dental industry type it. This is the one with consistent search volume. And if people do type it differently, eventually your videos will rank for all the different variations, all the different spellings, but you need to have your title exactly this way in the beginning to get that initial boost of traffic. So when you do research, you find questions like this, that becomes the title of your video. Let me show you another example. If you're an expert in nutrition, how to calculate nutritional value of a recipe, or how to carry nutrition during a marathon. Very, very specific questions. I would have never thought of those, but you do keyword research and you can find hundreds and hundreds of questions that you would have never thought of. Human resources. So if that's the trunk of your tree, if you're really good at helping businesses with their HR department, here's some leaf topics for you. How can we improve recruitment and selection process? Or how to restructure a company to increase profits. There's such a variety. I just picked a couple of examples. Let's say you are a life coach. Here's some questions that I found. How to manage work-life balance for a woman. The more specific these questions are and the more words there are in the question, the easier it is to get it to rank at the top of YouTube. And the key is you do keyword research so you can find, okay, what are really long specific questions that have consistent search volume every single month. Another one here, how to transition from teaching to another career. Very awesome question that I would have never thought of. Motivation, let's look at this one more example. How to overcome lack of motivation to exercise, or how to get motivated to clean when depressed. So I want to talk about one other thing. You can't do the keyword research that I'm going to show you after you film a video. Okay, so let me explain why and how this works. Let's say you made an amazing motivational video and it talks about motivation. It's just really inspiring. Maybe you even hired Steven Spielberg to help you produce this video. Your video is amazing, but if you think, okay, now that I've got this amazing video, let me do some keyword research like Nate teaches me, and I'm gonna find the best title. Well, imagine if you found this title, How to Overcome Lack of Motivation to Exercise. You can't really title your motivation video because it wasn't focused on your lack of motivation to exercise. Or cleaning, right? The second title. If you're depressed and you couldn't just title your video that. So what you do is you do keyword research first. Before you film, before you outline or script anything, you do your keyword research and you find these leaf titles. That becomes the title of your video, and then you can outline your content to answer that question. It gets straightforward, it makes sense, right? But a lot of people do it the opposite. They think, okay, I've got this idea, let me film it, and then I'll do the SEO stuff afterwards. It just will not work. Now let me dive into the keyword magic tool. If you look up in the top left corner, you'll see this is on a website called SEMrush. This is a premium tool. You have to pay for that, okay? So if you want a free trial, you can go to herokeywordtool.com. But what I recommend that you do is don't keep paying for it month to month. You can have multiple people share one account, but really you only need this for a few hours, because once you dive in and you're gonna follow the process that I show you, you'll be able to find enough titles to last you for a year or beyond, right? You're gonna find hundreds and hundreds of topics, and so you don't need to continue to subscribe to this tool ongoing, but I do recommend trying out their free trial. Okay, so, and by the way, in the left side of the screen here, you'll see all these different tools. I don't use any of their other tools. I go in there and check to see, hey, have they innovated anything when I get an email from SEMrush telling me about a new feature, I'll check it out. Really, there's nothing else that's valuable for this process. None of it really helps for YouTube. And by the way, a lot of these tools are built for Google SEO. Well, Google has changed. Google has changed. I used to have a website SEO company over a decade ago, but it's changed. Back then, Google used to be a website search engine. It's not a website search engine anymore. It's primarily now a content search engine. So the industry has changed, and that's why we're focusing on creating a certain type of content that can get ranked immediately. Instead of focusing on a website and trying to get that website to rank at the top and trying for years and years to get there, well, the search engines have kind of left that strategy behind. So the chances of you getting your website to rank at the top of something, it's just not gonna work. Okay, so let's look at this keyword magic tool and let's zoom in here. Let's type in the words real estate investor. Okay, so that's the trunk of your tree, or maybe the first big branch of your tree. Just as an example, we'll hit search. Now you wanna come over here and click the questions button. When you turn that on, you can come over here and turn on the next thing that I love to do. It's an advanced filter of word count. My default number is 8. I've just found that 8, 9, or 10 word phrases, so this is setting it to be a minimum of 8. You want to find leaf titles, or you want to find these questions that have 8 words or more. The reason being, the more words means the more specific. The more words by default also means the less competition. So if you start with these ones, then your videos will rank on day one. If you go after a phrase that's much more competitive, you post it to YouTube, it still won't work. So you've got to follow this strategy and post that video to YouTube and have it rank at the top. Post another one, it'll rank at the top, and another one, and another one. And eventually you can start to go after the more competitive ones because you've got such great traction with YouTube SEO here, okay? So what happens when I do this? Look at all these examples. You can go down the list in the tool and just start checking the ones that you like. And you will see up here at the top it says copy. I've just got a screenshot right here. And I'm just going one by one to show you these examples: how to find investors for real estate flipping, how to find investors for commercial real estate. Notice these numbers on the right side. Another thing that I recommend that you do is start at the low-hanging fruit first, not the ones with the bigger numbers. You definitely don't want to start with any of these phrases that have above 100 searches a month. Just save those for later, like months down the road. But look at all these that have 30 or even 20. If I scroll down further, you'd see some that have 10. Like, those are gold. If it's a really long specific question that you know your target audience is asking, even if it's 10 searches a month, several of those 10 are going to become leads, right? These are people that are searching for your expertise. So these low numbers, just think of that as low-hanging fruit. These are the ones that are easy to rank for and will give you momentum on YouTube so that you could rank for the more and more competitive phrases. All right, now this is the complete course, so I'm gonna go deeper. All right, I'm gonna go deeper into this tree analogy or my leaf strategy. Okay, so I've got one branch highlighted here. Let's zoom in a bit. When you do this keyword research and you start to find these leaf titles, you'll group leaf titles according to a branch, and I'll show you some examples of what that means. What you can do is you can compare this branch to this branch, and you'll notice some major differences. You'll be able to look at this list of questions and this list of questions and say, now that I look at that, that's actually not my target audience as much as this is. Every one of these questions, I know who these people are. They're my ideal customer. They're my target audience. They're searching for what I have to offer. So you can compare, because when you're looking at one question at a time, just picking these randomly across your tree, you might think, oh, well, yeah, I can answer that question. Ooh, I can answer that question. But when you look at it in terms of an entire branch, and you look at all the other questions on that branch, you're like, well, yeah, I can answer that question, but these other ones, I don't really want to. Yeah, you actually should ignore that entire branch if that's the case. So now let me show you specifically what that looks like. This is for my client, Noelle Randall. We're going to stick in that same example of real estate investing, but this is really her spreadsheet that I made for her at the beginning of 2024. This is around February of 24. So I found this branch, real estate investor find. Let's say the word real is the trunk, or real estate would be the trunk. We go out to another branch, investor, we go out to another branch, find, okay? These are all the leaves that I found on that real estate investor find branch. Now, right next to that find branch, there was another branch that was become. So both the become and find branch are on the investor branch, right? So this is real estate investor become, and these are all the questions on that Become branch. Now, I showed both these branches to Noelle Randall. You can check out her channel. It's over 800,000 subscribers. When I showed these two branches to Noelle, she looked at this first one and she said, now that I look at it this way, this is not my target audience. In the past, we've actually filmed several of these videos, but she said, yeah, looking at it this way, now I know I don't want to touch this branch anymore because that's not my target audience. But this was a new branch. She hadn't done any of these topics yet. And as she looked at these questions, she thought, you know, I want to rank at the top of YouTube for every single one of these. And maybe she already filmed one of them. But anyway, let me show you the results over the next several months. So this is that first branch, the Find branch. And you'll see up here in the top right, it says February 10th. What we did is we took every single one of these questions into the YouTube search bar and checked to see if Noelle's videos were ranking. Okay, a yes means her videos were ranking on the top. She was in the top 3. We didn't have to scroll down at all. A starting meant she was not at the top, but if we scrolled down, we found her in the top 20. And then no means we did not find her, okay? So for this branch that she does not want to dominate, she actually has a good amount of traction. So now let's look at the new branch we found, the Real Estate Investor Become branch. There were 2 yeses, but we see that there's a lot of no's, and that means there's a lot of opportunity. We are really excited to find this branch because she looks at it and says, there's so many good questions here that I can answer, and I want to dominate this. So check this out. February 19th, you can see that there's 5 different videos that we filmed. In March, we filmed a few more. In April, we filmed a few more. Let me then fast forward and show you the results in the following months. I would call this an SEO score of 2, or if maybe 3. If we give yeses a score of 1 and startings a score of 0.25, you add all that up, that would be a score of 3. Well, here we've got a score of like 9.5 because we've got 8 yeses and a couple startings. In May, it would be even a higher score because we have even more yeses. And by July 3rd, we're practically dominating this entire branch, okay? So do you see the power of this type of a focus where you can hone in and examine all these different branches and decide where is my target audience and where do I want to focus? What branch do I want to dominate? All right, with that foundation, now that you really understand my tree analogy and my leaf strategy, I'm going to go into the 5 ingredients of the leaf strategy so that if you include all of these 5 ingredients, you will get your videos to rank at the top of YouTube. So ingredient number 1 is choose your target branch. Now you know what that means, right? You've got to do the keyword research, group things according to branches, compare those different branches together, and choose the branch that you're going to start with. Okay, so that's ingredient number 1. Ingredient number 2 is then film every single leaf. So if that branch that you found has 30 different leaves on it, 30 different questions, if you want to dominate that branch, then you've got to film the majority of the leaves on that branch. Now later in this video, I'm going to talk about different types of videos. So there's 3 types of videos that you're going to be posting on your YouTube channel. Some are leaf videos, some are nurture videos, and some are lead magnet videos. So I will go into more detail about that, but just know for the leaf strategy, if you want to dominate that branch, you've got to film every leaf on that branch. What's funny is I actually moved it to right now in this training. Okay, so let's cover the lead magnet and nurture videos. Let's look at these 3 different videos, and in fact, we're going to talk about a 4th video just briefly here, okay? Let's talk about it now. On the right, this is a web page, and you see that there's a video there. I've got Noelle Randall. Let's say this is a landing page, and this video says, hey, if you want to get the free gift, go ahead and put your name and email below, right? So that would be a conversion video on your landing page. Well, on YouTube, what do I mean by a conversion video? What do I mean by a market or a nurture video, okay? So let's cover all of this. By market, what I call marketing is when your content is getting in front of people who've never heard of you before. So people who don't know who you are, they're not subscribed. They're not subscribed to you on YouTube. They're not subscribed to your email list. They're not friends with you on Facebook. They're not connections on LinkedIn. These are new people. So in any of these places, if you want to call it marketing, it has to be in front of new people who've never heard of you before. Now, you can market through paid means, right? I don't do paid advertising, but that's one way that you can market or advertise, right? But another way that you can market is through search. You can create content that goes in front of people who are searching for you. They don't know who you are, but they just go to Google and YouTube and type in a question, and that brings up your video. And so now you're marketing to these people, okay? Nurture, that means that these people already know who you are. They've already watched several of your YouTube videos perhaps, or they've already subscribed to your channel, or they're already on your email list, or they're already listeners on your podcast. Okay, this is your audience that already knows you. When you make a video or any type of content and send it out to them, they watch it. It's not marketing. Now you're nurturing, right? You're continuing that relationship. You're keeping your name or your business or your expertise top of mind. So nurturing is very, very important, but you want to be clear on differentiating what's marketing and what's nurturing. And if you look at your whole campaign, you're like, actually, I thought I was marketing here, but I'm just nurturing. I'm really good at nurturing. How do I market? Okay, because you've got to have a mixture of both. And convert, what do we mean by that? It's you're taking a viewer and converting them into a lead, right? You're getting them to be a viewer on YouTube, and now they're a subscriber on your email list, right? Now, all three of these types of videos that we're putting on YouTube, the content is similar, right? If somebody was watching one of these, they may not know whether it's a marketing video, a nurture video, or a conversion video. And I'm also going to change the names of two of these. We'll call it leaf videos or lead magnet videos, okay? When people are watching these, they're going to feel the same, right? They're all going to be the same type of content, but there's two differences. One is how people find the video, and two, what is the call to action? So how people find a leaf video is through search. How people find a nurture video is these are already your subscribers, and so they're going to see it in their subscriptions feed, or you're going to email it out to them or whatnot. Now, a lead magnet video, how do people find those videos? Well, in either a leaf video or a nurture video, you're going to have a call to action that says, hey, now that you understand this principle, I want you to go watch this video next to learn the entire strategy. Like this video here, it's a full course, so this would be a lead magnet video. Okay, does that make sense? So this is going to be your core content. And if people want to get a free gift that you offer at the end of the video, that's going to be the call to action to get that free gift so that they'll want to go to your website and become a lead and join your email list. Does that make sense? So if you didn't get that, pause and listen to it again, that the source of views on these three different types of videos are different, and you want to know what the difference is. How do each of these videos get views, and what's the call to action? The call to action on a leaf video is to go watch a lead magnet video. The call to action on a nurture video, it could either be to go watch a leaf video, or if it makes sense, to go watch a lead magnet video. And the call to action at the end of a lead magnet video is you're going to offer them a free gift. And so go get the free gift. Ingredient number 4 is you want to make talking head videos. And I'm going to talk about what that means and some characteristics that make these talking head videos successful. Here's a few. This is what I mean by talking head. This is a talking head video. I'm just on the screen. I'm just sitting in a chair here and I'm talking to the camera. I'm looking right at you. I'm not doing a multi-camera shoot, because imagine if I had another camera over here and I just turned and I'm starting to talk to that camera, but yet you're viewing me from over here. It breaks eye contact. It doesn't make sense. You'll see a lot of videographers that will use a 2-camera or 3-camera shoot, but it actually is not effective. You don't want to do that. Just stick with one camera. All right. So let's go to some of the points that I have here. So 10 minutes. What does that mean? Well, that's a great length for a leaf video. It's also a great length for a nurture video. If you're going to do a lead magnet video, typically those are going to be longer, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I'm creating a complete course here, so this video is obviously going to be much longer than that. And you want to do that on rare occasion. Typically, if you can stick in the 10 to 12 minute range, especially for your leaf videos, that's going to get you the best results. Now, when it says outline talking points, I'm really serious about that. You do not want to script your videos. You don't want to read from a teleprompter. You don't want to take the time to write it out word for word. That takes hours. It takes me hours. If I'm going to make a 10-minute video and script it out word for word, a couple of hours. The only times that you want to do that is if you're making a promo video, like a paid ad or something like that. You've got to really craft and refine, and it's a whole different experience. When we're talking about a video that goes on YouTube that people are watching voluntarily, that they're not being forced to watch, right? You're building a relationship with them, and you don't want it to be scripted. You just want to have a clear direction that you're going, and then just be conversational and talk to the camera. And when you mess up or you need to think about something, you look up to the side. That's what we do naturally in our conversation. You want to practice doing that over and over till you get really comfortable just talking as if you're on FaceTime or Zoom with somebody. Let's talk about this next idea here of curiosity hooks. At the beginning of the video, you've got to create curiosity about what's coming in the video so that they want to watch it. I mean, If you're watching this far in the video, then that means I did a good job at the beginning of letting you know what's coming in this video and why you're going to watch this long of a video, right? If you've got a 12-minute video, people are trying to judge in the first 30 seconds, should I commit? Should I watch the full 12 minutes? And you've got to let them know. Give them a table of contents about what's coming and do it in a way that creates curiosity, that sells it, right? You're going to give some amazing content in here. Let them know how amazing it is. That's what I mean by curiosity hooks. You've got to hook them in the beginning so that they stick around and they watch that video all the way to the end. Next thing I want to talk about is custom thumbnails. The thumbnail and the title always go together, and we've talked very specifically about how you pick the titles for your videos. Well, the thumbnail, you could be more creative, right? If you've got a title, that's this leaf title, that's a very specific question, that might not be the most sensational, it might not be the most compelling or like a magazine headline as you might want it to be. But you can put that magazine headline character into your thumbnail. Your thumbnail needs to be true. We don't want any bait and switch. You don't want to have a picture of an elephant doing something and have no elephant in your video. Right? That was just an extreme example. But you want your thumbnail to be true to the content of the video and the experience and what they're going to learn or what they're going to hear about in your video. So if the title of your video is something like how to buy furniture for an Airbnb rental, right, then the thumbnail might say Airbnb owners never tell you this, right? Something that's more sensational or magazine headline can go in the thumbnail, okay? And you've got to create custom thumbnails and be really strategic in order to get more clicks on your videos, okay? The fifth point I want to share about talking head videos is the call to action to watch another video. A lot of YouTubers will do this and they'll just say, hey, you should subscribe to my channel and watch more of my content. But that's so generic. But if you're talking about subject A and subject A really leads into subject B well, then at the end of the video for subject A, you can say, okay, now that you know topic A, you're really going to enjoy topic B. I've made another episode about that. You can go watch that one next. And you can actually display that on the screen, right? So in your video, your call to action is, hey, go watch this video next. YouTube really will reward you for keeping people around watching longer. And the more watch time you have yourself, the better of a relationship is that's built there. I want to take a step back on custom thumbnails and go into a little bit more details so that you understand how important they are, okay? Now look at these two thumbnails. The one on the top is the original. The one on the bottom in blue is the variation. And if you look at the stats, the click-through rate changed drastically from just a simple change of color. Changing that from red to blue, it increased the click-through rate from 6.6% to 8.3%. Now this isn't to teach you that blue is better than red, it's just to teach you that subtle changes can actually have big results. And when you launch a video on YouTube, you're not going to know this data, you're just going to create the best thumbnail that you can. And when you launch it on YouTube, you'll be able to see the click-through rate. And those videos that have a lower click-through rate, you can make some changes and see if you can increase that click-through rate. Another thing that I do when we design thumbnails is I'll design 6 different thumbnail ideas in many cases for a single video. These are all thumbnails for one episode. Then I can look at them this way and say, you know what, B1 stands out the best, or A2 stands out the best to me. Let's go with that one. Or let's use the imagery from A2, but the text from B2, right? You can mix and match, but don't bite off more than you can chew. Like in the beginning, maybe just create one thumbnail and see how it performs. But over time, you can come up with different ideas. And if you have a team, you can have your team present different ideas to you so that you can pick and choose which ones are really going to perform the best. And an amazing brand new feature that just came out in 2024 is split testing of thumbnails. You could pick your favorite 2 or even your favorite 3 and upload all 3 of them together, and YouTube will test them. It'll rotate through those 3 different thumbnails and let you know which one has the higher click-through rate. So that's pretty cool. That's now a feature built into YouTube. Let's talk about ingredient number 5, and that is that you want to launch between 1 and 7 episodes every single week. So that's quite a range. Why would I give you such a wide range? Well, it depends on what results you want, okay? If you think back to the tree analogy, and when we talked about the branches and comparing different branches together, how many branches do you want to dominate after an entire year? If you think, man, this one branch that I found, if I can just dominate that one branch at the end of the year, guess what? You can get there just by launching 1 episode per week. There's 52 weeks in a year, So you can launch 52 episodes and really dominate that branch. That's very, very doable and possible, okay? But if you want to dominate like 7 or 10 or 12 or 15 different branches, you're gonna have to be way more aggressive, and you might wanna launch 5 or even 7 episodes per week. Another way that we can look at this and be realistic is, what is your business revenue now? If your business is making, say, $200,000 a year, it might be great for you just to start with 1 or 2 episodes per week. If your business is making 7 figures of revenue and your goal is, I want to generate an additional 7 figures of revenue in the next year, well, then you're probably going to want to launch 5 to 7 episodes every single week. Now, with the channels that I produce, most of them, we launch 5 episodes per week. I really like 7, but here's what I like about 5, okay? We film 20 episodes in a day. It's a good round number. If you're starting at 9 and going until 5 p.m., you know, an 8-hour day with a lunch break, you can film 20 episodes for your channel that are 10 or 12 minutes in length. So you film 20 episodes in a single day, and then you start launching 5 episodes a week. That gives you 4 weeks worth of content, and then you have another filming day. So that means you're only filming once every 4 weeks. So that's why the majority of the channels that I produce, we film 20 episodes in a day, and we're launching 5 episodes every single week. What does this look like? When we launch a single video, that video brings in a little trickle of traffic, right? It's really valuable, but it's just a trickle of traffic. But we launch another video and another video and another video. If we film 20 episodes in a day, then over those 20 weeks or over those 4 weeks or 3 weeks, right now we've got 20 different trickles of videos. And eventually all these trickles, you know, we have hundreds of videos. Now we've got a big fire hose of traffic. And I want to show you what that fire hose of search traffic looks like. When you get traffic from search, it's so valuable for lead generation in your business. So let me show you. This is behind the scenes. This is looking at the YouTube analytics of Paul Jenkins' channel, Live on Purpose TV. He's a positivity psychologist and a parenting expert. All right, now we are looking at a 28-day period where he had 154,000 views on the channel. 40.5% of that is from search. So 62,000 views just from search in a 28-day period. That is a pretty awesome fire hose. If we look at Noel Randall's channel, that same 28-day period when I took this screenshot, 34% came from search. That's 84,000 views just from search. That's a pretty awesome fire hose that's predictable and that's tactical. I also want to show you how this strategy works to help you get views from Google. Not just YouTube search, but Google search as well. So I'll just show you another example. Here's Chad Littlefield. Also, we're looking at a 28-day period. You'll notice his #1 source of traffic is above search. It's actually external, okay? So let's remember this external number. We'll round that to 18,000 views in a 28-day period. And then let's click on external here. Google search is the #1 source of external traffic, right? So we had 18,000. Now we can add 15,000 of that. That's all coming from Google and YouTube search. That's a fire hose of traffic. The last thing that I want to talk about is how to track your ranking, right? There's a lot of tools out there. There's TubeBuddy, there's vidIQ, and unfortunately, those tools are misleading. Let's come back to the YouTube screen again and notice when I type in this question, how to discipline a child that lies and steals, we see Nicolene Peck at the top. She's actually in position 3 and 4 as well. But look over here on the right. I've got this vidIQ Chrome extension, and I've got an account with vidIQ just to show you this. And overall score is low. I've got 32 out of 100. What does that mean? When I took this screenshot, this video had only been launched for 7 days. It had over 800 views. It's ranking at the top of YouTube. So why do I have a low score? Okay, let's go behind the scenes. Okay, I've also got the TubeBuddy extension installed. So now we're looking at the video in the Creator Studio, and it says I've got a 50% TubeBuddy SEO score. Okay, but the video's ranking at the top, right? So that just means the criteria that they use to determine this score, it doesn't matter if your video's ranking well, but it has a bad score. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Let's look at another example. If you type in that question, we've got Jason Schroeder at the top. He's a really cool guy, really fun to work with. Again, he's got a score of 51. Let's dive a little bit deeper to see what does this score mean. Okay, so if you click on that little question mark, it says the score is determined to help you gauge how effective this keyword would be in your video optimization efforts. Okay, so somehow the tool knows your business strategy, okay, whatever. But take a look at this. If you have a 1 million plus subscriber channel, you might be able to break through here. But if you're a smaller channel, like, focus on other things. But look, this channel has 27,000 subscribers. This isn't a million plus subscriber channel, and yet I figured out how to get it ranked at the top pretty easily. We've gotten 20, I pointed the wrong thing because the numbers were the same. 27,000 subscribers, and this video has had 27,000 views. So obviously we should have a much higher score. You know, here's another example with Sean Higgins. If you type that in, Sean Higgins is my client, he's right there. It's got a low score, but you see we've got 12,000 views. Instead of using those tools, I recommend that you just go into YouTube Analytics and go to the advanced report, okay? So this is a report you want to figure out how to create. Now, I picked a 90-day period, and then I'm comparing it to a previous 90-day period. This feature is built right into YouTube Analytics, so I don't even have to manually go in and pick dates or anything. I just pick 90 days and then do period over period, and it's comparing basically 2 quarters together here. And take a look at this. So in one quarter, I had 79,000 views. Purple is the previous quarter. And then in the blue quarter, 90 days, it went up to 87,000 views. And I'm looking at traffic from YouTube search. So this is awesome data. That's showing like how healthy is your channel? Is your channel growing? Is it increasing in search traffic? And the answer is yes. We went from 79,000 views in that quarter to 87,000 views in that quarter. So here's another example from Nicolene Peck. I did the same report, but it's a 28-day to the prior 28-day comparison. We went from 25,800 to 28,300 just from one month to the next month. And because in this video we went into the advanced strategy, the best way to know what your SEO score is to compare your yeses and nos. So a yes means that it's ranking at the top of YouTube. You can check that yourself. Starting means that you have to scroll down, right? It's in the top 20. And a no means it doesn't show up. So if you give yourself a 1 for every yes and a 0.25 for every starting, well, then you can look at the score here would be 3, the score here would be 8.5, score here would be 13, and the score here would be 15.75. That is a very effective way to track your score instead of some arbitrary percentage that says, oh, you've got an SEO score of 50, good job. It's not very helpful, whereas something like this, you can track your progress over time, and it's actually very, very helpful. Would you like to have a one-on-one conversation with me? Would you like me to take a look at your YouTube channel and discuss if this leaf strategy is a good fit for you? I'd love to have that conversation. You can go to callnate.net. Go to callnate.net. You and I will jump on Zoom and we'll have that conversation. I'll see you there.